I'm Mark Crivelli with GutterUniversity.com, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the gutter tools and some tips about tools. I've written a little bit about this at GutterUniversity.com, but there's a couple things that I didn't mention on there, and it's worth reiterating. One of the things that is probably most important when you're first starting to cut miters is to get a good pair of snips. You really do need to use good ones. If you get some of the cheap ones that you can pick up sometimes, like Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere else like that, or even worse, like at some of the Chinese knockoff tool outlets, they're worthless. They'll be broken in a week, and they don't cut straight or cleanly either. So, as I've said elsewhere, Midwest makes the best snips, in my opinion, bar none. But if you take a look at these snips, they're the heavy offset ones. Some gutter guys like the narrow ones, but especially when you're first starting out, these things make clean, straight cuts so easily, and you can cut long sections without getting tired. The narrow, straight cut, not offset snips are so difficult to cut with, in my opinion, compared to these. And this pair right here, I think, is 2 years old, so that tells you something about how durable these are and how good overall. Another tool that I've been talking about on some of these videos and also at GutterUniversity.com are double cuts for cutting through downspout. And if you go to the downspout video, you'll see me using these. These are infinitely better than any other method, in my opinion, for cutting downspout. Saws leave just horrible jagged edges, plus you have to either drag the saw around to every downspout location, or you have to take pieces back to the truck to cut. These, throw them in your pouch, you can cut downspout anywhere. So I really recommend getting a good pair of these. These are also Midwest ones, I believe, yes, and I've had these probably for 4 years. Also, they have a bolt at the top, so you can tighten these down. If they start to loosen up on you and they start cutting a little bit badly, you can just tighten this down and they'll cut like new again. Here's two tools that I wanted to talk about a little bit as well, because I've run into some problems with levels in the past. Well, a related problem with both of these is that there's a tendency when you're working with gutters to get caulking everywhere. It's almost unavoidable if you're cutting off the machine. And if you accidentally get caulking on your square or on your level, you might not notice it. And as a matter of fact, this level has some caulking on it. But you'd be surprised how off your gutters will get if you are cutting miters with a crooked square, or you're trying to hang gutters with a crooked level. So don't skimp on buying a level. Don't go to the dollar store and get some piece of crap for $1 that's going to throw off thousands of feet of gutter. Just get a good level. Make sure you don't have any caulking on it. Make sure you're blowing out the gutter before you put it into the back to make sure that you're getting a good reading. Every time you're cutting your gutters, make sure there's no caulking stuck on the bottom of your square or the template. It also happens to the template. So pretty obvious, but can screw up a lot of gutter that way. Another tool that's worth talking about is these 100-foot tapes, tape measures. Make sure you get a good one. You'll burn through these. They have a tendency to fall between decks and break and get covered in caulking to the point where they don't reel in. But don't skimp, because some of the really cheap 100-foot tape measures are basically worthless. So that's another one not to skimp on. And these are just some specialty tools, nothing really important to say about them. Well, these are downspout crimpers, and these are also Midwest ones, and this is a pretty good pair. But one thing you'll notice over time with these, especially if you're crimping a lot of round downspout or 3x4 downspout, is that over time they get loose, and they won't crimp as well as they once did. It becomes very difficult to put downspout together. You have to crimp all the way around instead of just the 4 corners. So one thing that you can do is, over time, this pair is actually starting to get loose. So you can either tighten them up, or in some cases, and I think this is the best solution, take them apart and grind down. I don't know if you can see this, but where the two sides meet, you can grind down this piece so it will crimp even further. It makes your life a lot easier if you can get good deep crimps on your downspouts and elbows. And two other tools that you should have: duckbill. I don't know what you call these. Duckbill pliers, I guess. Must have. And these are end cap crimpers. These ones are for aluminum. Make sure you get the ones for steel if you run out mostly steel, because these aluminum ones are extremely difficult to punch through the steel. It just kills your hands. So that's a little bit about tools.